Hello, my name is Claire Spinka, and I'm currently a doctoral student working at Hoffman Estates Health and Human Services Department. This April community outreach event is aimed for parents and caregivers of children and adolescents who have concerns of medically unexplained symptoms such as abdominal pain, headaches, fatigue, and tiredness. To begin, let's define the word somatization. Somatization is defined by the American Psychological Association as the display of psychological disturbance in the body. It's important to realize that everyone experiences somatization, and it is especially common in children and teens. Somatization examples could be experiencing jaw pain or soreness after a stressful event, or getting a headache after a long day at work, or feeling nauseous when you're nervous. Let's talk about how somatization happens. To understand somatization is to understand the relationship between physiological, social, psychological, and cultural factors. All these play into the severity, intensity, and frequency of symptoms. Those who experience somatization typically seek medical settings with the hopes of alleviating symptoms. In primary care settings, approximately 16 to 34% of patients have medically unexplained symptoms. It is critical to note somatization is one of the most under-recognized and undertreated mental health concerns. Medical settings cannot confirm or explain these symptoms, which can lead to the feeling that the pain is all in your head. It is essential to note the pain and symptoms your children and adolescents are experiencing are not fake. Okay, so we know what somatization is. We know people mostly go to medical doctors for treatment, and we know the symptoms experienced are not fake. So let's get into the risk factors. Stressful life events and cultural factors such as stigma of mental illness and the experiences of discrimination and racial trauma can all increase your likelihood of experiencing somatization. Moreover, having a dysfunctional family climate, such as parental marital concerns and overall family conflict, also increases the chances a teen or a child will experience somatic symptoms. Anxious attachment to caregivers, meaning if you're a caregiver and you leave the home, does your children become increasingly anxious regarding your own or their own safety and health and well-being, has also been associated with somatic symptoms. Traumatic events such as illness and family mental health history also plays an important role in children and teens' experience of somatization, which, untreated, will manifest into adulthood. Common symptoms of somatization can be broken down into neurological, cardiac, gastrointestinal, and musculoskeletal pain or fatigue. Symptoms such as weakness, sensory changes, and tremors can be the hallmark of neurological somatization. Cardiac somatization can show up as dizziness, fainting, and chest pain. Gastrointestinal somatization typically shows up as stomach aches, nausea, diarrhea, and constipation. Finally, headaches and joint, arm, leg, or back pain or fatigue can also be indicators of musculoskeletal somatization. Somatization can be caused by first biological and psychosocial factors. Everyone learns from their environment, especially children and teens. Conditioning such as receiving more attention for physical symptoms, such as after an illness or injury, can increase the likelihood the child or teen will somatize. Because some children and some teens have difficulty with expressing verbally their emotions or stress, somatization then becomes the body's communication of psychological distress. A child or teen's predisposition to anxiety through genetic or environmental factors can increase their sensitivity to pain and the feeling of being healthy. To explore more of these themes, which I addressed above, it is important to discuss the social learning theory. The social learning theory is an empirically researched phenomena that explains how children may learn how to display and manage their somatic symptoms through family members modeling. To further explain this concept, family members may unintentionally reinforce somatic symptoms by giving positive attention to the symptoms and creating a reward, such as a child or teen being able to miss an undesirable activity, such as school. Furthermore, somatic symptoms have been found to be more common in families in which somatic complaints are attended to, such as the example I just explained. As the child and teen develop through this familial reinforcing, they are much more likely to continue experiencing somatic symptoms in adulthood. As I just explained the social learning theory, it is time for personal reflection. Pause this video and take a second to think about how your family treated you when you were sick as a child. What messages about illness did you receive? And how do you think that influences your parenting today? Now that you are all knowledgeable about somatization, what it is, how it's most often treated, the risk factors, social learning theory phenomena, and the impact of how you were parented as a child and the messages you received about illness, it is time to go into some tips and tricks of how to hopefully reduce your child or teen's symptoms. First, as a caregiver, you need to understand what symptoms your child or teen are experiencing. Is it neurological, musculoskeletal, cardiac, headaches, or gastrointestinal symptoms? Then, what emotions and social factors may maintain or exacerbate the symptoms? Related to the first tip is to create a somatic symptom action plan. The steps to create a somatic symptom action plan is to detect the triggers which increase the severity, intensity, or frequency of symptoms. Is it social outings, upcoming school tests, a recent parental divorce, a difficult death in the family? Then encourage your child and teen to talk about their feelings, especially ones which may feel uncomfortable to talk about, such as sadness and anger. Then encourage your child and teen to use coping skills when they're not in pain for practice. Finally, while somatic symptoms are occurring, again, encouraging and modeling coping skills alongside your child. Remember, children and teens model and learn from you, caregivers. This image is called an emotion wheel. I got this image off of Google's with a quick search. This image shows that humans can experience a wide variety of emotions with all different names and experiences. If your child or teen has difficulty expressing or identifying what emotions are being felt, use this tool, and it may be helpful in giving them the language to express themselves outside of their physical body. Now, some of you may be asking, what is a coping skill? Here are some ideas of coping skills. Remember, coping skills which work for you may not work for your child, so be curious and explorative to what works best for them. Here's another image of coping skills using the alphabet. Each coping skill photo in this presentation was found through Google's search engine using the phrase, coping skills for children and teens. There are numerous resources online which give hundreds of options, some that may not even be listed in this presentation. A critical tip and trick is to validate your children and teens' somatic symptom experience. Listen to your child non-judgmentally, validate their distress and their physical symptoms while also focusing your attention on areas in which they are succeeding or making you proud. Praise your child to engage in activities despite their somatic symptoms. Importantly, be patient and monitor your own emotional reactions, such as anxiety or frustration experienced as a concerned caregiver. Finally, and most importantly, stay hopeful that things will get better. Providing holistic care to children and teens who somatize is essential. Work with your child and teen's primary care physician, school system, and seek out a mental health professional to provide your child with the best possible care. As I touched upon in the last slide, having a holistic care team for your child and adolescent is important. Here are some questions I want you all to feel empowered to ask your child's primary care physician and therapist. First, how do I support my child? Are there any side effects to the medication you prescribed? How often should I schedule follow-up appointments? How do I support my child's functioning when they're ill? And how can I keep my child engaged in school activities? Previously in this workshop, I talked about the importance of modeling coping skills for your child. For the next few minutes, we'll be spending time practicing 3 interventions you can employ when your child and teen are experiencing somatic symptoms. The 5-4-3-2-1 exercise emphasizes the senses. You can mix the senses in any order, but I recommend, based on your environment, making it challenging. So without further ado, practice this grounding exercise with me. Pause this video as needed to make sure you're completing the activity in full. Sitting comfortably and taking your time, tell me, what are 5 things you can hear? What are 4 things you can smell? What are 3 things you can taste? What are 2 things you can see? And what is 1 thing you are touching? Great job on completing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. Before we begin the next intervention, emotional freedom tapping, or tapping, let me describe what it is. Tapping is a body-centered therapy technique which can relieve the symptoms of stress, depression, anxiety, and other mental illness by drawing on the ancient Chinese practice of acupuncture. Studies show acupuncture is effective for some conditions, as I just described. And instead of using needles, we'll be using our fingers. To first begin, identify the issue, fear, or problem you're experiencing. Then set a benchmark of the intensity of the pain or the intensity of the emotional distress on a scale from 0 to 10. 10 being the most pain felt and 0 being no pain. Then practice a phrase linked to the issue, fear or problem, and pair it with acceptance and love. So a phrase you may want to use with your child if they're experiencing gastrointestinal somatic symptoms could be, even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Then we'll begin the tapping sequence. Using 1 hand and 3 fingers, we'll begin tapping on the side of the hand, on the fleshy part. Then using 2 fingers, begin tapping on the side of your eyebrow where the hair begins. Then move your fingers around the eye and begin tapping on the side of the eye where you feel the bone. Next, move your fingers underneath your eye. Good. Move that tapping from under your eye to under your nose. Then move your fingers to tap at the divot between your lips and chin. Next, with the palm of your hand, begin tapping on the beginning of your collarbone. Next, with the palm of your hand, tap under your arm about a palm's distance away from your armpit. Finally, using 2 fingers again, tap on the top of your head. Now that we know the locations of the tapping, we'll begin the exercise. As we are tapping the different areas, we'll be repeating the phrase, even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Are you ready? Even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Even though my tummy hurts, I love and accept myself. Great job. Now scale your stress, and if it isn't close to 0, repeat. Great job on completing the tapping. I hope you're all feeling good. Here's a 4-minute clip on YouTube, which is another great resource for learning how to do the tapping exercise. Before we close out the presentation, let's do one more grounding exercise. This is a great intervention to use, especially if you have children and teens who are creative and visual learners. I want you all to close your eyes. As your eyes are closed, I want you to picture yourself completely calm. Now, I want you to associate that feeling with a color. For me, it's blue, but everyone has their own calm color. Now, I want you, with your eyes remaining closed, to begin thinking of a time or situation where you felt an overwhelming feeling of anxiety or stress. Sit with the feeling. As you're sitting in the feeling, I want you to think of a color which represents the feeling of stress or anxiety. For me, it's red, but again, each person likely will have their own unique color for the feeling. With your eyes closed, I want you to take deep, full breaths. Which each breath, I want you to picture your calm color coming in through your nose and the color of stress and anxiety coming out of your mouth. So for me, it's inhaling blue and exhaling red. Keep taking those breaths until all of the red has been replaced with blue. Great job. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. Congratulations, you have completed the workshop for My Tummy Hurts. I hope this experience was informational, fun, and something that you believe will allow your child and teen to experience relief from their symptoms. Don't give up hope, your child will get better. Your support and love are truly the best medicine. For additional help, please call the Village of Hoffman Estates Health and Human Services Department. On this slide is the link to the website and the number to the main line. I hope you all have a restful and restorative day.